Yes, when clean energy is conventional, at least I hope, wind energy will support local economies. And I had to put the tagline here for Wisconsin Windworks, a great organization or a subset of an organization where lots of different counties and regions within Wisconsin can work together as far as manufacturing and job and support the wind industry. So one of the first things I want to talk about are wind farms. I love small wind, but I fought for large wind for a number of years and probably will continue to do so. One of the arguments I would always hear against large wind farms is that you can't really count on these as being base load power plants. These are intermittent, we don't know when they're going to come on and going to come off, and there's no batteries to store the power, so how are we going to possibly rely on wind power as being a base load power plant? Study after study has shown that our grid, with a little work, and I'll talk about that in about another 2 slides, our grid needs a little bit of work, a couple extra parallel paths, a way of windy in one area, not windy in another. We can generate that and move that and use it as base load power. And again, countless studies out of like National Renewable Energy Laboratories and OEA, the American Wind Energy Association, has shown us that we can do 20, 30, possibly 40% of all of our electrical base load needs with wind power. So I'm a big believer in that. But the reason I came to the MREA and started working here a few months ago is that I've really got a passion for distributed generation. I love solar heating, I love solar thermal, I love PV, but I really like moving parts a lot, so I'm addicted to the wind. And distributed generation will be commonplace, at least more commonplace than we're seeing right now. First of all, it's coming into policies, and I'll couple off a couple things that Andy talked about earlier. We need fair net metering. We don't need utilities choosing to give an avoided cost of 2 cents a kilowatt hour if you generate more than what you use. We need fair net metering at a decent rate, and this includes more than anything rural cooperative customers. We've got investor-owned utilities that, through mandates, must give us a percentage of our renewable energy and will net meter with you because they have to. I'd really love to see us push more for advanced renewable tariffs. Don't like the word tariff, though. That word tariff kind of turns people off. Advanced buyback rates, putting more value into your PV or your wind system than perhaps some coal or some oil-based systems. Renewable energy credits, being able to, okay, so I don't own a home, I rent a home, and I want to be able to purchase renewable energy credits, work with someone else remotely. And we've got policy in the works in Wisconsin and a few other states to hopefully get that moving forward. Probably one of the biggest sticking points that just really bothers me is, we talked about the federal tax incentive going away, and then there's the ITC and the Treasury grants that just keep leaving, and our incentive programs just keep getting, attacked. And what about all the subsidies for traditional generation? Subsidies or incentives, depends on which side of the argument you're on, right? If you don't like it, it's a subsidy. If you like it, it's an incentive. It's the same thing. But let's take away all those subsidies then for all the traditional generation. Why do nuclear power and coal need subsidies? I should end there. I ended on an up note. Good. Also, thanks to Niels and the MREA and Renew Wisconsin, and we're working with the Sunshot program to make the process more streamlined. Training electrical inspectors and building inspectors that this isn't freaky deaky new technology. This is not rocket science. This is easy. This is simple. For those of us that have any sort of electromechanical background, you look at a windmill and, oh, I get it. Spinny, electricity, easy. All right. The grid will be upgraded, I hope, and energy storage worries will cease. Batteries, I think a lot of us know the positives and the negatives that go into batteries. And some of the things, the limitations that batteries have. So, we keep hoping for new technology and better energy storage, but on the other hand, we can always think of our grid as an electrical storage, as a big, giant pool of electrons instead of water molecules, basically, where you can scoop up and you can deliver where needed, and our electrical consumption comes up and goes down depending on what day it is, how hot it is, if Christmas time is near, if air conditionings are running. We can control all this through a better grid, a grid update. And I would really love to see some sort of a policy along the lines of, a New Deal, rebuilding our electrical grid, because boy, does it need it. If we want to get some serious renewable energy distributed generation done, that grid's going to need a little bit of work. Consumers will have changed their habits. I think you've heard this come through a couple times. Using less, being smarter about how you use it, how much you use and when you use it. So of course that's a big part of the problem. I mean, look at us. You guys have probably seen something similar like this. internet images of all the electricity that we use, and we use a lot of it. We use a lot of it, and every single one of us needs to pay attention as to what we're using and why. As far as wind developing and supporting our economy, I think that the easiest thing to see is manufacturing. How many people have been, driving on the car and seen big white tubes of wind tower components coming out of Tower Tech, Broadwind, and Manitowoc, and distributed amongst places, and composites for blades, which are basically airplane wings. They're made the same way, so fiberglass and composite work, plastics works, steel and iron, welders, painters, power electronics, motors, generators, gearboxes. We've got Inga team in Milwaukee as a leader in gearbox repairs and supply chains, assembly, quality control, research. We talk about green jobs. We're not really necessarily creating these jobs. We know how to make steel and fiberglass and do all these sorts of things. It's just for a different market now. So that is what the green jobs is all about, and it's fabulous because along with that, these turbines need to go up in the air. So we need really, really good crane operators. If your young one wants to know what they should do when they grow up, crane operator. Good. Unions, right? Welders, electricians, masons, concrete workers, road construction and repair, all of these come with the industry. And these aren't new jobs. They're just with a little bit of a different focus now. Actually, one of the biggest hindrances that wind farms, at least land-based wind farms, are having is getting across state lines. The permit process to get from point A to point B, and which months you can do this and how much it costs. And you hear stories of truck drivers just waiting on the side of the road to get into the next state because they don't have their permit yet. It's absolutely ridiculous. How about using our waterways, our Great Lakes and our rivers, our railways? There's a lot of different national supply chains and transportation links that we can use, as well as easy permitting processes. And of course, my heart goes to, these are two of my graduates from Lakeshore Technical College. Talk about having a nice office, right? Overlooking Lake Winnebago on a 65-degree fall day. It was just beautiful. It's not always like that. Those of you that are thinking about being a wind turbine technician, there's lots of really bad days in there too. But again, electrical skills, mechanical skills, being able to torque a bolt, being able to put grease in the right places, and these are great jobs. And I couldn't be prouder to have supplied a lot of our wind industry with some LTC graduates. Small wind is a little bit different than big wind. I have a lot of friends who are installers. Bless their hearts, I don't know why. It would be nice if they could actually make a living, pay some bills, get some manufacturer support, get some good turbines on the market. You don't have to worry about the company, just suddenly being up and gone. Not just getting the customer that inverter that fried, and so, okay, great, the warranty replaced the inverter. What about my time as the installer? What about my being able, would you expect your auto mechanic, or do we expect the plumber to just, not get paid? Absolutely not, absolutely not. So we need this equality. Just because the fuel is free doesn't mean the technology and the installation is, right? It should be free, right? Yeah, no, absolutely not. And we need to get away from being able to just Google wind turbines and say, hey, what do you know? For $3,000, I can buy this little whirligig mounted on my roof and never pay an electrical utility bill again. Okay, there are bozos and shysters out there. The difference is that bozos don't know any better. They're selling you a product that they think is really going to do some good. A shyster knows that what they're selling is crap and will do it to you anyway to make a buck. And we've got both. We've got both out there. And so, if it sounds too good to be true, it is. In the meantime, luckily, though, we see these, talk about becoming conventional. We've got certification programs, for installers like NABCEP. If you don't know what NABCEP is and you're thinking about being an installer, visit their booth over in Exhibit Hall B. We've got the Small Wind Certification Council finally becoming testing turbines. Right now, it's sort of a buyer beware market. A turbine can be named whatever you want to call it, and there's no checks and balances. So having something like a solar panel, when it says 200 watts, you know that in certain conditions it can actually provide you with 200 watts. We're getting there. We're getting there. And again, policy. Gosh, I never thought in a million years I would be interested, and I'm still not really interested, but it's become part of what I do, is dealing with policy. There is a huge not in my backyard movement going on in Wisconsin. Luckily, it's been silenced for a little while with the passage of a statewide wind siting law that took about 5 years to finally make its way through. But what you saw in pockets like Manitowoc County and Brown County and Calumet County, sign after sign after sign, here's the fear, here's the change that people are talking about. Wind turbines threaten our groundwater and our wildlife. People believe this. I don't think anyone in this tent believes this, but people believe this. And if you repeat it and you message it right and you link it to something else, the whole neighborhood will have these signs up, and pretty soon the wind farm's gone. So we had a small victory there with a statewide wind siting law just passed on the Ides of March this last year, so that was absolutely great. We need good state policies. Get involved, vote, make your voice known. It would be nice to have a federal energy policy, just saying. And some checks and balances again, environmental protection, make it a priority, not just like, oh yeah, that's right, you people want clean air and water, no, make it a priority. So that's what I've got. I love talking about wind, so if anyone else wants to talk to me, I'll see you till 4 o'clock today.